Okay, so I'm inside strategy tester. I'm running a 10 pip grid. And I'm going to go with the less is more theory of life. Minimalist charting. We could throw some trend lines if we wanted on this, or we could do support and resistance, supply and demand. So all we have here is really high and low, but we still have volatility. So how far is the high from the low? And what is the high to low range without smoothing it? And can we trade this on stops and limits? I believe so. At market orders, I think it's tough. I guess you could say it's making new lows, it's down, but we don't really have a red and green light thing here. We don't have a red down, green up. We don't even have a line. We just have the range. So this would also force you to be a so-called disciplined trader. Like here, you would have known the strategy. When you see a small bar, you're going to put a sell stop and a buy stop. Okay, now you're up in the trade. Maybe you trail your stop now. Let's just imagine that's going on. Actually, the robot's getting it right here. This is a crude breakout bot that I picked up for free. The saving grace is look at the trailing stop. It can't lose. It can't lose. Although I wished it would have taken this trade. Here it would have got trapped. So if we're going to do a strict, like half a pip above fills, it's getting filled. But when the range expands, like we're not going to take this trade or this trade. This is our only window of either buy or sell, but low risk. Break even trades. If we move it to break even like the robot just did, the robot's about to get stopped out. I got a 2 pip fixed spread here on playback. Here's the question. Is this a breakout or fake out right now on the 1 hour? Coming into the next day. So we're still short, say here at the end of the hour. I'm going to speed up the robot playback so we can just do a blow by blow. And here it would be obvious that you could run maybe a strictly buy stop bot that it's only going to engage if it sees a small bar. It's going to run a buy stop. So directional trading, when you know that you're in buy mode, say you turn on that robot and you go, this is a buy bot. There's a sell bot. And we can run them against each other, or we can run when we say, I think that thing's going up. Let's just let this kind of a trend, kind of a 20, 30 pip stop to make 80 pip. Robot is throwing stuff out there, or you're doing it. See, look at how that thing closed. Right at the end of that thing, it closed in the middle of the bar there. So for us, breakout traders and limit traders too, I forgot to put that into the formula here, but I mean, this chart has 2 trades available. We're either going to trade breakout of this, or we're going to buy in limits down here at the deep discount. We are literally going to buy the bottom. And you could keep tanking, right? If you had a 5 pip stop, okay, they took you out. But if you've got a 15 pip stop to make 20, it's kind of break even, but it's not too bad. 15 to make 30. So people would ask in the videos, well, what do you think a good stop is? I'd say they're all good. I mean, I wouldn't go past 8 maybe if the spread's 1, because now you're still like 20%. You're still at 10% cost. If you're getting a half a pip stop with commissions, you're still paying a pip, right? So the further you can get away from the 10 pip, you try to maybe run a 10 pip stop, but that's still an 8 pip stop in real life. And then maybe you're going to run a 20 and a 30, but you got to know when to have that in there. And it's quite a bit of work to line up all the tickets in the sweet spot, because let's say you got into a 50K in this window here, and then you cashed out everything. Right now we're trading here. You can't tell because there's no closing price on it. We just have the lows. It's kind of an awkward chart, but it's like a Renko chart, really. You're waiting for this to update. See, This also smooths out the data like a Renko because it's getting rid of that closing price and that noisy up and down bullshit, right? This breakout chart really, but there are limit trades available on here. So we see the Asian quiet session, a little bit of a trap here on limits maybe. Nice clean breakout for a little bit, but when it traps on this, it's done. Then a little bit further north, just still kind of just, getting in here is not a big winner, but it's a breakout. If you're going to trade really heavy there, you'd have to get the fuck out. If you got buy limits starting here and here, you never really got filled on this one, right? Because it would have had to come down here, but you got filled on that, and that was a pretty good money maker. Plus, when it falls on the floor here, before it engulfs the high of the day, there's still pressure building up here the whole time that's happening. And once again, I see this so many times, this wedge here, once they clean that wedge, it's like ba-bam, and that thing went just a little bit higher, so you'd actually sell very heavy near the ceiling of that. Put a hard stop at the 100-yard line. They almost made it. Now there's all this pressure building up in here. What could possibly go popping up in there? Or the guy that bought here, he probably went flat. I would have. Now here comes the breakout pots are stacking up. So the guy explains it, this Sean guy, explains it very precisely what's going on during these quiet sessions. And it's just obvious, So you see this. I'm going to take this out, this hole, because that really doesn't matter. I think it looks like this more to the market, like everything like that. And then just this low. And these lows are now invisible because this is all that matters, is this just straight down, however that goes down. Okay, now the pressure's building up here. So we'd start running buy stops, let's say. We're going to defensively get in. Confirmation get in to the north side. We think it's going to fill to this floor. That's a possibility. Or it'll just keep tanking, and this is where the non-directional traders start to make money because they just don't give a fuck. If this is a smaller bar than the bar before, they would have got in here. They're not going to get on this bar. So there's a buy stop. They just triggered the sells. Next bar goes by. If it's even smaller, more bots are going to come in. More team breakout. But it's up on that trade right now. So it's up on just getting in because it's a small bar. Now it might get whipsawed. I don't know how this plays out. I'm thinking that I'm going to go for the fastest playback speed. So we're just going to have to think on the fly here very quickly. Okay, so we're up on that trade. And once again, the robot nailed that breakout to the south side. It's just that the robot gets beat up on the 1 hour. It looks like a genius on the 1 hour lately. I mean, since I started the video. But we still haven't got this to trail. Okay, now you're at break even. You went short on this low volatility situation. Some reason it just doesn't make money on when you're done. Okay, so it's maybe cashed out of at least the scalp portion. And maybe it runs a trailing stop now. Here comes another, here's where you would get over traded or whipsawed because you just got filled on the north side now because that was a small enough bar, I think, to warrant the break, at least some kind of breakout bot. But you're setting this at a hard number. You're saying anything above 20 to 30 pips in 1 hour on the euro dollar, there's no way it's going to put a buy stop here and a sell stop here. It wouldn't make sense. Now here it might stack up, but here it's really going to stack up. And here it's getting trapped, right? So I don't have the 4 hour chart up, but that's going to be a better situation. Or it's waiting for 2 bars on this. Because otherwise, if you're not looking for 2 small bars, this is 2 hours of quiet. There's not 2 hours of quiet in this. So maybe got filled here and it didn't do too bad. But this wouldn't qualify because that's only 1 hour. And this might be. But you're just going to have to trade limits also. You can't just live off of the stop entry idea. Otherwise, somebody just would have built a stop bot and let it go. It's a no-brainer. But it's going to get the downfall of confirmation entry is you overpay, obviously. You should know it's going to go, after it goes down, you're getting the best deal in the next 3 hours. Or 3 hours ago, okay, so a trend trader would say 3 hours ago it was lower, so we're higher now, so it's making higher highs. Let's get on the board. Let's get aboard the train. But if you got in at the very low on something and you're able to hold that through the swing, and maybe you've cashed out other tickets, then you can really crank, right? Because you could still go flat even if you're up equity. So if you did trade your equity, which you really are trading your equity, so many things people say that it's just like, oh, so I'm supposed to do that. Well, I guess if you can handle it. Some of this stuff is just so stupid, harebrained stuff people say, let your profits run. It's got to be the dumbest shit I ever heard. If you really did, you just get without moving your trailing stops. It almost makes it sound like that kind of thing. You're just going to get killed because it's not going to keep going. And in the last video that this no-nonsense guy said, oh, yeah, well, these trends, a good old trend keeps going like it's like a fine wine. It keeps aging well. What is he going to say? This thing bought. Look at this thing. It went long here. A little late for me, but hey, look it went long. Of course, this you would just have to take the punishment of buying new lows here without any confirmation. I know it's painful to think about just going out and picking up some hooker, I can't believe I didn't even get a chance to she didn't show me her yearbook or nothing. We're just out there. This is tough. People just don't like the idea of buying the into the lows of the other day. Now, the 1 hour chart looks perfectly acceptable behavior on the 1 hour chart, so I think perspective's everything. This is the breakout that was denied right here in the last, when they opened up the other session. So what they do is the market just kind of keeps melting and melting. You just go a little bit lower. And then this vacuum that is underneath the floor, right in this pocket here, I think it makes it a better setup. That means it's really unfair. So I'm taking this double bottom and I'm looking at this hole underneath this floor. Here on the upside, there's one just before. So these little things fill and then, okay, so they just satisfied this window. I figure a lot of people sold on that. That's like a 4 hour wedge. And here comes the breakout bots trying to make a little money coming back the other way with that algorithm. But all this shit's fucking interchangeable. I just can't imagine sticking with one trade plan. It wouldn't work. I could go to the 4 hour chart. It looks more believable on the 4 hour chart, but then you're running 22 pip stops. You're getting trapped in a wider range. There's no free lunch. You're either going to get trapped in a wide range and have to have such a feathered out exit that, plus you got to trade at the market. You still have to have the red light, green light chart running for the market orders to know it's down. I'm saying for me, if it's down buy, if it's up sell. At the end of that period, no questions asked if I'm a directional trader. But I'm entering on the pullback because I have to have that in the scheme. I can't just be pure breakout, pure limit. Because I say you might be on the sidelines. It might be the most insane entry, but it's too insane. The market's never going down there or up there. You have to settle for the way it's behaving currently. If it's just going to dick around, okay. 4 hours is only 6 possibilities to enter per day. Is it really going up every 6 hours? If that's the case, hopefully it's some rally out of something that's going to give up the ghost because you're coming into fair value again, where it's going to go all drifty. When it's completely psychotically out of bounds. Okay, now look at the ATR just picked up here. So it's kind of fun watching this chart because I can't tell the setup for the crush here, whether there was a time pivot. But look at this from the breakout standpoint. A little trap on the north side, but certainly making up for it. Looks like it could come all the way back and start cutting into this now. And here, no more breakout strategies, so you're kind of sitting steady on that. Trading the other side of it. Look at how they just nicked this, and that was serious buy point. And the cause for that, I say, is this hole here. Go sideways, breakout traders in, maybe they scalp. So for the next, just before London, maybe it gets quiet, maybe the breakout bots come in. Or that system's the best to use in a quiet market. And then we have the brutal moves. And if you're going to put sell limits up here, here's where I'm a little afraid to get in too heavy. But my first spot is going to be here because this lines up to this double bottom. Once they crack that wick, the early scalpers sell lightly here, sell heavier above. Same thing on the downside. So they're coming into this window now. A clean breakout here, 2 hour clean breakout. So maybe two robots are short now, just by default, only because it made new lows. There's no other data. Okay, now we're coming into the limits. So it's a win-win if your breakout traders are riding this down, the limit guys are catching the falling knife. It's a perfect world. And the market traders, I think that closed down. I'm just going to say it closed near the lows because we have an inside bar forming at the bottom here. So I'd say market guys just bought the market. Or they're getting out, at the market because they're really going to go the opposite way. Okay, we're still crushing down. No chance to get on that breakout. Last bar was down too hard. Okay, now they're coming into my limit window for the next whatever here. Maybe I'm still holding 20% of the breakout trade. See, if you have extended targets on that breakout, it's going to be 20%. I mean, it is so difficult to extract every ounce of money out of 24 hours a day, but you have to have trade plans for unique situations, and it'd have to be a hard set pip. You can't just have like 2% of the account on this rack of tickets. It wouldn't make it. It's stupid. Here it's very precise. Everything's dedicated. Yeah, that thing only does a 15 pip take profit. That's all it does for a living. It's like ants, ants on the ground. They just do 1 gig. You don't see them doing other stuff. Here comes another breakout. Looks like breakout bots are shorting that thing now. Just default. Trend traders are shorting that thing. That's a classic flag entry. Low range. It's below the cloud. Slow, you're moving it below the baseline. Small range. Just get the fuck in there. Yeah. Run your trailing stop. So far, you haven't got stopped out. Fuck. You could have traded this breakout, re-entered your breakout system here. You ran a trailing stop. You're still in the fucking trade. Like you're about to get stopped out. But it's running your trailing stop. Like, boom, you're out. Gee, now it looks like we could come to here. Eventually. This guy's almost at break even. The guy that bought everything to here. Right, see, it goes on and on. Anyways, that's the high-low chart. Playing it back as fast as I can. Let's do the 4-hour chart. So the 4-hour chart's going to be less work. Let me restart this robot on the 4-hour here, see what it looks like. I gotta go for a smaller data set. I'm just gonna go for crude method. I'll do a fast playback of the 4-hour. Gotta hurry up and grab the template before it goes nuts on me here. Okay, that's pretty fast. This might be a little bit much. 4-hour chart, yeah, so a lot of pips here. You'd have to be in these trades for like 20 hours, I think, to make money. So say we bought this plunge here. Okay, so we're up 10 pips on the top ticket at least. Not too many good breakouts on this. I like the limit idea on this chart. It just seems easier somehow to just put buy limits in here now and then sell limits just up in here and just let it go for the whole week. Oh, looks like they filled me. There you go. So 20 pips. Okay, everybody scalped out to that. Yeah, the breakout was here, I suppose, beginning of the week. Of course, this was a little whipsaw, but then volatility died down here and non-directional entries there to the south side into this hole. We would buy anything that's lower than the previous week. Looks like those guys cashed out. Sell window up here. Now I'd run trailing buy limits now down here. Just put more in on each layer here. That's it. Here comes the breakout bots. They just went long. Well, we'll stop hunt for that breakout bot. Oh, picked up some limits though. If you run the trailing limits in here, pick up 20 pips. Oh, that game's over. It's pretty vicious. I mean, once the volatility picks up, here coming into the buy limit rack, almost just missed it. That's why I think it. Oh, I'm still in the 1 hour chart. Shit, I thought I set that to the 4 hour. I guess I didn't. Here, I'm gonna do a fast playback for a chart. So, yeah, it's a completely different. I wonder why that looks so terrible for that trading methodology. I thought that doesn't look good at all. Here, so this is going to be more volatility though. This cost you more on this chart. Okay, 4 hour chart. See here, they trapped you a little bit. So really small bars, 10 pip bars on the 4 hour, but look at that. So the 4 hour chart is really a different world onto its own. I mean, look at this shit. If you've got buy limits in here, you're like, holy shit. And here comes the breakout traders. We didn't have to trade that technique. We could look at this and say, something's going to go nuts. We don't have to trade breakouts, but we can see what the breakout strategy is doing. Here the volatility is too big. We'd always have buy limits trailing on above and below. So that looks very doable. In fact, at the moment I'm ready to run my limit. It just does limits at a certain interval. Because this way, if I find that the market has come back, it's just kind of scattering out there random, but I'd have to do cleanup duty. Like, I see that it bought this plunge, like a genius. But still, if the market comes flying back to here, I know I got to get out. And maybe turn off this is another thing. Would you turn off the bots? Would the bots only run while you're sleeping? And then you turn them off during the daytime and manually put in tickets. So it's kind of an assistant that's going to help you a little bit. That's another way to look at it. I mean, if you're intervening because you know what's really going on, that's different. Look at this wonderful breakout strategy here that just cleaned up. Coming out of this that was a clean breakout. So on the 4-hour chart, this robot actually makes money. That's his best performance. I bet it's making money right now. Look at this. It's kind of making money. It's up $400. Yeah, it's kind of getting beat up now. But, you know, like I said, if on a winning streak like this, like if I saw that thing was up, I'd be like, oh, wow. This trend's coming to an end quick. This thing punching up. Big reversals up here. I'm going to go for a super fast playback. Capable of here. And the crude method. There's some spastic stuff. Look at this breakout at the beginning. Sunday night. Clean breakout down. You're up on that trade like an idiot. Come on, man. You knew there was buyers in here. And there was no way to really get in any heavier. It never made it to here. Not that it won't later. Okay, here's the new attack zone. That's what they call that, the kill zone down here. Because you blew up my account. Oh, if you sold above that, look at that. You're up on all those tickets. Also, here it's very easy to identify if I was going to show somebody how to trade, I wouldn't even show them a bull and bear candle. I'd just show them this chart. I'd be like, dude, okay, the market's capable of going up and down, and what we have here is a history of up and down. So there's trade plans for when the market when it's a small, narrow, when the white lines are close together. There's a trade plan for that. When they're wide apart, there's a different kind of trade plan. Or there's no trade plan. And I do think you'd have to be somewhat aware of, like, well, in my ultimate, robot prop house, it's going to get in heavy in these really small bars and medium size in the medium-sized bars, but when it gets like super tight, because the medium-sized bars here aren't too bad, and then it explodes. And how long does it do? This is a 4-hour chart, so in the daily, you can only imagine. I must say, on Sunday night, coming into Sunday night here, this quiet period for the first day, it looks like about as quiet as it gets in, I think it was a midweek. Plus, you can see I think this is the Wild Wednesday wicking into insane prices. Look how it closes out Friday here, just crushing in here from people hold over the weekend to actually cash out into this. Almost makes it to this bottom. Now it looks like it's just going to go on a rampage. Imagine the people that have trailing stops, the bulls and the bears, they're just getting raped here. You don't think those bankers are making this go up? And if you don't think they're trying to hunt your stop, then you're just... Look at the volatility on that. So I think the cause there was this hole. Once you took this into this hole, it went nuts. Well, they finally made it back to this bottom. People were like, whew. It's psychotic. Wow. Man, here's Sunday night again. A little trap to the downside. They didn't quite make the high of this, though. Look at this, just trench sideways. Let me see how the robot's doing here. Check in with my... Oh, look, it's fucking making money. Look at this, 13 goddamn grand. Because look at the drawdown. But look, it's not over trading. This is the ATR bot. on the 4-hour chart. Oh, look at that. Whoa. See, now that's, look at the volatility on that. For the love of Pete. Can you imagine? Like, people had buy limits down all the way to here, and they were prepared to buy a 100 pip window, and look how they made 100 fucking pips on that trade. Even this ticket became a winner. Oh my God, look at the next week. It's psychotic. See, people are trying to run the same algo every week. They're like, why am I getting killed? I mean, I can't understand it. Wow, look at the sellers came in up there. Oof, 100 pip winners. Nice work. These are just obvious places to put orders. Oof. Gotta better cash out of that, or we're gonna go all the way to here. Thank God we got out of that. We knew the exit was here. Please tell me you could see that your exit before you got in. Just highs and lows, man. Highs and lows matter. Sorry. I don't care if it's a bull or a bear candle. We're buying down here. We're selling up here. Oof. Look at that fill. Must be, gosh, what is that? Looks like 2 p.m. A Tuesday, FOMC Wednesday. Look at Wild Wednesday. Look how it came up to the supply zone up here. This is ICT breaker block up the fuck here. What's what I'm telling you, man? Don't you know? Don't you know that? Look at this bottom became a top nearly. Oh, here's the bottom became a top perfectly. Just before she plunges. Wow. Brutal. Look at Sunday night. They're going after it. They just look at the tank more. Look at, oh boy. Kind of trapped them there. That looks like that, almost that vacuum beneath the floor here, but what a hell ride for people. Kind of trap breakout here, kind of trapped to the upside a little bit. So you got to scalp that 10, 20 pips out of these breakouts on the 4 hour. But if I saw a 12 pip bar on the 4 hour, I mean, look at this. This is a 9 pip bar on the 4 hour. And look at the breakout, how clean that thing is. You can't get in again till here maybe, and then the trend's kind of like over. It's a late entry, directional trading here. In a non-directional world, you don't do too bad because you would have sold the top here instead of getting in long. You would have gotten, if you kept running the narrow range. Here's Sunday night narrow range, kind of a winner to the downside if you don't run too tight a trailing stop. Because if you get in here on that breakout and then it's like maybe they take here's the trend traders entry breakout, low volatility. Here's kind of a trap to the upside, but definitely banks. Sunday night we're coming in. I'm buying below here, so I only picked up this window. I would have cashed out to this. Now we're going to put a buy limit here. And put buy limits down in here. Oof. Well, that was rugged, so. Yeah, that would have wiped. See, this is where your breakout bought, right? So this is the meltdown. So see how that. You would just get annihilated if you left those tickets in super deep. I don't know what's to the left here. It's probably some cavern. And if you came in, there's not even a chance to get in your breakout strategy during this, except for right here on the last 50 pips of that. So you can never be, and if your orders, if every 4 hours you're coming in deep, that's different than laying all these tickets here because it's a 150 pip slam. And you're only making like 60 pip bounce here. So you have to have something coming in. You'd have to be short on something down into this. Now, if you could if you have enough money, you're going to wait till it comes to here, and then you're going to basically be at break even. This will be a zero winning trade. I don't think people are ready for those moves. They come in pretty hard, you know. I mean, that's a pretty brutal. If you're not expecting a hole there, here, you had to know this. If it got below here, this eventually became the exit. You'd have to, if you're going to put in orders for that last that long, you better look back. Because we just make mincemeat of this window here. Here you're going to have to buy more though. Here's a breakout trade coming into the Sunday night, and then goes sideways just before and then down. So you can't just look at how quiet the market is now. So here you need to be able to trade that. That's like a 12 hours of sideways breakout. This looks like easy coming with the limits. Everybody's going to sell above here, cash out. You could sell there for the scalp. Okay, they just scalped it all the way back there. There's very quick. So yeah, you just at the mercy of this volatility. Here's a clean breakout. So it shouldn't be hard to backtest this. You're looking for small bars with a clean breakout. I mean, that it's got to be the easiest trade plan in the fucking world. But you just can't use it forever, because even though it makes money here, you know, and you could say, well, it did so well here, but yeah, the times that it's going to do like this, it's a very small bar, or here you're kind of getting a little whipsawed, you know. Here you definitely get choked out. And not even the limits are filling now. Like if you got limits here, you're still waiting. I'd be a little bit concerned of selling up here. I'd have to sell pretty high, because now we're coming after that previous. So the guys with the deep pockets, you know, don't forget, they are up on the trade from buying here. And they, you know, this is the floor, become double top. Finally, we get above it. And we got to take out the low from that last week. So big picture, this is a very big picture. It would have taken a couple weeks to make money on this. We knew there were sellers here, so you could have still sold up there without even knowing about the buy down here. The next buying window is going to be here. You know, it's the obvious, but I don't know if we'll make it all the way back here. So maybe you start running the trailing limits in here like this. Okay, you picked up a few tickets there. I'd say that's all you can do. Look, it's up 600. It's up $6,000 here. This fucking stupid breakout thing. So I do think the 4-hour breakout bot is a real thing. I've been able to, on the 4-hour charts, what is the risk on this one? Okay, this is a scalping thing. It's got an initial 12 pip stop with an 8 pip trailing, looking to make 26 pips with a super tight ATR. It's trading a standard lot. So, granted, it's in a standard lot. It's, like I said, if you had the 9 pip stop, the 11 pip stop bot, they're all running in concert, and it's a 10K on each one. It's probably going to have a better contour to have 10 robots than one of these ATR bots. Okay, here's a nice breakout here, but it went short, which I wouldn't have, but like for me, I was buying here. So, okay, I expect there to be some kind of drama up here. If we ever get above here, you know, there'll be sellers galore, I'm sure, right? Well, Let's hope that's obvious at this point. We never made it back to this structure, though. Disappointed here, no fill. Tops don't always become bottoms when the market's frantically moving. That's why I say settle for the stop hunt entry here, maybe. Yeah, you're going to get, and look at this, when you smash down like this, the answer to that is the smash up. And when it gets in this slot here, they come back, and now you get into this kind of nice, simple, low pip volley, which is a drift down, and you could easily put the old drift down channel there. They don't quite walk it back to the they walk it back within 20 pips of that structure. Okay, now they're coming after those limits that are sitting down here, and we've sold this kind of using the peaks. The line chart gives you that nice peak and valley stuff. I'm also going to look at this as being one of those wedges. So this is quite the unattainable price. And the window from here up was your sell window. And of course, for the aggressive people, they just started selling right there. They're like, dude, as soon as that goes up, I'm selling it. It's also a deeper. Actually, they just shear that off. It just shears right through that. Look how vicious this is. So in the zoomed in world, what's going on now, you're always running this thing where you got the buy limits down here in a big rack, and then you got the, I guess this is where you put the 15 and the 30s, because they're overlapping too. We've got, say, 2 hour buy limits there. We got the 8 hours. The top side, I would be putting the sell limits above the high of the week. And inside of that, I'd have the scalps built in that. Okay, almost coming into our buy window. The breakout trader's got a clean breakout on to the south side here perfectly. So we can watch them. Like we don't have to participate in that breakout. We can just say, oh boy, something's gonna these people are too agreeable. I think the low volatility means people agree on that price. Okay, they just filled that first. Here was your first limit window here where they tag it, and then you kind of have to take the scalp. They actually come back in under here. Then we get the vacuum form again. Here comes the breakout traders to tug it down underneath. We buy that for a dead cat bounce a little bit. And when it heats up, I think this is where the you've got to, like if this is down in 4 hours, if it's down 50 pips, you're going to run deeper limits. Let me zoom out again for the big picture here. I don't know where we're at, why it's tanking so hard. So it doesn't make sense sometimes. They seem to be cutting in. They've been constantly cutting in here to carve out that price. And we made it into this notch. I don't know if you can see it. But there's a double bottom down here in like a 10 pip window. And they finally bagged that. Here's Sunday night breakout. So to be on the safe side, I would just put buy limits in all the way down and beyond to here, just in case. Which is pretty deep discount territory. So when people go to the 5-minute chart, essentially it's like going like, well, if I was going to buy down here and then I zoomed in, it's like you can't even see that. It had to be like here. Okay, that was buying the low of the week in a 20 pip window there, which made 100 pips. Here's the high of the week. And then here's the high of the previous week. Okay, so I would have got filled on buy limits here because I know when it's up here, I figured the sellers are up in here and they're going to rip it back. And since it's too late to buy, then I figure I'm just going to run the trailing buy limit stuff. Okay, I just cashed out of something there because of the we ripped back to this floor here. Most people got the fuck out. Okay, let's see if we can gobble up some more stuff. This is sunny night. What kind of hell could happen on sunny night here? Take a look at this. I'm going to buy down there. I'm going to sell up there. Here's another buy zone now. Another sell zone. Here was a nice little baby buy zone. The breakout traders would have come in here Sunday night, I guess. The blind bots. Look at this wonderful breakout. Opens, quiet, boom. Not so much on this one. A little bit of a trap, I suppose. It still made 40 pips on one direction there. And then, boom. It's so much better than that Ikamusha thing where you're waiting for some cloud bullshit. Here you don't wait for nothing. Low range breakout. Another low, kind of a trap. Okay, we just got filled on these limits. We got a cash out here on something. Because that's the breakout. Now it looks like we're going to crush it down deeper. I'm going to buy down in here now. So that's it. Just goes on and on. 4-hour breakout. Or just the high-low chart. High-low only. High-low for you only. No close for you.